It's good morning to all of you from India, and it's my pleasure and privilege to share my little knowledge with you all about the Spooky2 Scalar. Okay. Before I get started with the theory part, uh, I want to just say a few things. If you have any questions, please write only in the Q&A section. Okay. If you have any questions, please write in only Q&A section, not in the chat box. Chat box, definitely, yes, you can say hi, hello, how everything is going on, and your wonderful feedback if you wish to give your feedback. So please make it informal in the chat box and formal in the chat box. Is that clear? In the Q&A section, pardon me. And hello to Sandra. Okay, so I think that is clear. So I'll start the PPT now. See, first thing is that I have made this PPT as simple as possible for you all so that you all can understand and get a feel of what Spooky2 scalar technology is, what the scalar technology is all about. And it should give you confidence so that you can purchase your own machine and then get started with these. Okay, so my focus would be the newcomers. Perhaps for the first time you have heard about the Spooky2 scalar. So my focus would be that you all can get started with it very well. Okay, so another one more request I have is it would be really grateful from my side if you can stick to, at max 2 questions per head, because in my earlier webinars I have noticed some people have so many doubts, and some people, even if they ask a single question, it gets very difficult for those people to get their answers, because it's very difficult to scroll down, entirely. So please bear with me and keep it to at max 2 questions per head, and ask your questions judiciously. Okay, so let me get started with the presentation now. Okay, myself, Dr. Siddheshwar Chopra. I am from the state of Uttar Pradesh, India. So I'll be discussing with you about the Spooky2 scalar and little bit about myself. So my academic credentials include PhD, the doctorate degree in experimental physics from B.I.T.S, Pilani, India. Prior to that, I have done my post-graduation and graduation from Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Andhra Pradesh and Bangalore campuses in India. Then after my PhD, I went on for teaching physics at university level for 10 years now. And I have published 25 reputed journal research papers in computational nanoscience. Currently, I am working as a research associate at a research center in India, wherein I am responsible for frequency-based research. So I have switched my career right now, thanks to Corona. So I have just shifted to a career which gives me more satisfaction, I should say. It's my passion. So my energy healing credentials are, I'm very proud to say that I am Spooky2 verified Rife trainer and the first one in India. Okay, and then prior to that I have done several certifications in healing modalities, energy healings like theta healing, Reiki, access consciousness, now healing, and I am also a Pyra Vastu consultant, wherein we use pyramids to balance the geopathic stress, to play around with the energies at home or offices. So then I have also done master diploma in alternative medicines, and my list goes on and on. So I will leave you there. So the content of the presentation Okay, so we'll be diving into the scalar technology. Uh, we'll start with the introduction rightly, and that is, we'll talk about the discovery and some basic concepts of scalar waves. Then, what is the philosophy of understanding dis-eases? Okay. Then we will get into the properties of scalar field and its health benefits. Then we'll get into the technical details about Spooky2 Scalar, wherein we'll learn about the hardware specifications and the three popular operational modes. In fact, these three modes make Spooky2 Scalar very powerful. Then we'll continue with the hardware operation. That is the most important part, wherein we'll understand what is meant by the scalar field tuning, hardware operation in pure scalar mode, molecular scalar mode, and lastly the Rife scalar mode, followed by what is frequency imprinting and how do we do that. Finally, we'll be discussing about the new accessory what Spooky team has introduced, that is called Spooky2 Scalar Harmony. Okay, and we'll learn how to operate, how to use it, and then finally we'll get into the common question and answer sessions. So perhaps many of you don't need to even ask questions. I have included most important questions what a newcomer faces. So all the Q&As will be automatically discussed at the end of the presentation, maybe something like last 20 minutes or so. Okay, so please hold on and we'll understand this together. Okay, so I go to the introduction part, and of course one more information is, after the session gets over, in few days time Spooky2 team will upload this video to their YouTube channel. Okay, so not an issue, you can also watch the replay. So let me go to the introduction of scalar. So in the beginning, James Clerk Maxwell, Scottish scientist, born in 1831, first discovered the scalar energy. That is how it all started. Then following him, Nikola Tesla, Serbian American inventor and engineer, born in 1856, advanced Maxwell's findings and invented machines that proved the existence of scalar energy. Also, Albert Einstein, born in 1878, also wrote papers on scalar waves applied to the gravitational field. Then, in the recent times, Professor Dr. Konstantin Mail has also studied scalar waves extensively in his well-published papers about vortex theory. So I've read his books, and I do recommend you all to go through his material, his experiences with the scalar field, and he has done a lot of extensive work. In fact, he was one of the motivations I uh, I went on for purchasing my scalar. Okay, so he has established a good experimental database about the scalars. Okay, so basically, what are scalar waves? So scalar waves are, back in 1900s, Nikola Tesla discovered an electromagnetic longitudinal wave. It can carry out lossless transmission of energy over vast distances. Even it could pass through solid metal objects with almost no loss of power. Okay, and could transport energy without the need of wires. So that is where the scalar energy, the scalar waves became popular. Now, in the 21st century, those longitudinal waves are now called as scalar waves, right? So, if I take the liberty of quoting or showing the uh, image from Professor Konstantin Mail's research work, then a scalar device can be easily understood in the term of this simple diagram. So just let me have a pointer here. Okay. Now you see here in our Spooky2 scalar or any scalar device, you get two units. One is called the transmitter and one is called the receiver. Okay. What does transmitter have? Transmitter has a high frequency generator, plus it has the primary and secondary coils. You can see here in the diagram. So you have the two coils, which are the primary and the secondary coils, and you have a ball electrode, metallic ball electrode, and then you have a Faraday's cage here. Faraday's cage is just to trap the electromagnetic radiation and ground it. Okay. So what basically the transmitter and receiver have in common is just this link cable or the earth connection. That is what connects these two units. Okay. Similarly, the receiver section is exact same nature as that of the transmitter. There is no change. The only change is that, as the name suggests, it is receiver. So it is receiving a signal from the transmitter and reflecting it back. Okay. Here in the receiver side, you don't have a high frequency generator. You have just the LEDs, which are also available on the transmitter side. Okay. So the only difference between receiver and transmitter is you don't have a frequency generator on the receiver side. It is such a simple setup, but it does beautiful work on our health. You know, it's very powerful, very powerful. So what are basically longitudinal waves or what are scalar waves? So as I said that, you know, scalar waves are longitudinal waves. So how do we visualize the longitudinal wave? It is graphically very simple to see. Longitudinal waves are such that the motion of the particles is in the direction of propagation of wave. So if a wave is propagating in this direction, then the particles are also vibrating in this direction, wherein you can see you have expansion and compression going on here. And a very simple example is of longitudinal waves are sound waves. Okay. So very simple example of longitudinal waves are sound waves. And we all know how important sound waves are for us. We are so very familiar with sound waves. On the other hand, the transverse waves are the waves in which, you know, the particles move perpendicular to the direction of the propagation of wave. Okay. And the example of this is very simple. Any electromagnetic radiation coming out from television, from your smartphones. So these are the general transverse waves. So that is just a difference between the longitudinal and the transverse waves. Okay. Now, what are the properties of scalar field? Properties of scalar field, the first one is that scalar energy expands outward in circular fashion. Scalar field expands outward in a circular fashion, or I should say in 3D, it is like an ellipse, it's like an ellipse. So we'll discuss when I explain the setup of the scalar field. So nothing to worry about there. Now, as we learned, the difference between longitudinal and transverse waves, it's important to know that the normal electromagnetic rays or the waves actually decay with distance from the source. That is the second point. Okay. So unlike the electromagnetic waves, scalar waves do not decay over distance from the source. That we'll see in the diagram again in future. So it's very important to understand that is the main difference between the normal electromagnetic waves and the scalar waves. Okay. So scalar waves do not decay with the distance from the source. Next important point is, some people, try to measure the scalar field. Let me tell you, it's not possible to measure the scalar field with any modern equipment. People, what do you call it? People making mistake of measuring with the EMF meter will be just measuring the normal electromagnetic field. And as we just now discussed in the second point, that decays with distance. And let me also tell you the rule with which it decays. The intensity or the energy of the normal electromagnetic waves is proportional to the inverse of square of the distance between the source, okay, and the device, right? So where you are measuring and the device itself. So the intensity or the energy is inversely proportional to r square. That is how your normal electromagnetic waves, electromagnetic field decays, right? The next very important point is scalar waves can pass through solid matter like metals. So it makes your job easier. When we learn the working, you will appreciate this point. Okay. The most important characteristics of scalar field for me are these two, the last two. I always stress in my one-to-one trainings also that scalar field carries information. Scalar field carries information, right? We'll discuss this when we go with the modes of operation of scalar. So scalar field can carry information, your intentions. Last but not the least, the scalar field is highly coherent in nature. It brings harmony. When I say this point, it is very simple to understand. All of us know what is meant by harmony and disharmony, right? Be it the harmony of thoughts, be it the harmony of environment, or be it the disharmony of the electromagnetic field we live in. These days, a very common word is resonating with all of us. Can someone tell me what is that? It's called 5G. Doesn't that bring fear in you? It does in me. So these are the chaotic fields, or I should say these are the disharmonious fields. These are not good for our body. So again, coming back to scalar, scalar can bring harmony. Scalar can bring harmony from the chaotic fields also by harmonizing the chaotic field itself. How cool is that? Okay. So scalar is very important modality according to me. Now, what is the philosophy of dis-eases? So, I keep reading something interesting. So recently I came across Germanic New Medicine, and therein, the entire concept of diseases has been, brought down to dust, and everything seems to be disharmony, everything seems to be conflict, everything seems to be the trauma, the shocks, what we undergo in our lives. So that actually so beautifully merges with the concept of scalar, with the concept of the philosophy of diseases. So as we all know, that our bodies consist of network of energy channels right from top to bottom. The energy system, which is very popularly known as chi, prana, is responsible for making us feel healthy and energized, not just on the physical level, but also on an emotional, mental, and spiritual level. Yes, my friends, I can proudly tell you that scalar is such a beautiful modality. It can help us at every level: spiritual level, mental level, emotional level, physical level. So it's a beautiful modality because it is a pure harmony, you know. So the root causes of disease is a blockage in our energetic pathways or chakras. So as I said just now, due to some conflict, due to some rigid belief in our body, I am a healer first, right? So we address the root issues of a person, we address the subconscious beliefs of a person, and then what do you call it, and then we ease that belief, we ease the tension resulting due to that belief, and we work at that energetic level. So it starts flowing the energy in the body, once, because of this blockage, the local energy falls below a critical threshold, the onset of a chronic disease illness is near. If the situation is not corrected, the condition can get worsen over time. Please understand very simple concept that, my my favorite example is, the water ripples. If I drop a pellet of stone, a pebble of stone in water, I get ripples. You know, it's the same thing. Imagine happening in the brain. So once an instance, any conflict, any situation which we could not handle at the time of its onset had happened to us, that ripple starts getting chaos in the acupuncture meridian slowly and steadily. If you don't handle that issue very well, then it can manifest itself as a disease, okay, disease, and such that your body is able to fight that particular conflict, as a physical condition. So it's a very deep understanding work, so to understand what is meant by this dis-ease. So now getting back to our body and the scalar energy, despite the interruption by blockages, our body retains the memory of healthy chi through cellular communication. Now, if I may ask, why does our body retain the memory of healthy chi through cellular communication? Why? Why does it retain the memory of something good in our body? Because I know many of you are learned people here who have lot of experience in the field, much more experience than me. I really respect you all. Many of you must have heard the name of Japanese popular scientist, Dr. Masuru Emoto. He has worked extensively on the water crystals, and then he has worked with imprinting frequencies onto water, and he has demonstrated, he has proven that the water crystals do store the emotions. What is emotion? What is emotion? It is either harmonious or disharmonious. So if I have to say what is harmony in water crystal is a liquid crystal. So it will be seen as a symmetric pattern. You know, life is all about symmetry. Asymmetry brings our energy down one way. Okay. So water retains the memory, and the memory is of the different emotions, different beliefs, whatever you want to call it. So he has demonstrated, if you have read his books, he has shown the images of, he has frozen the water crystals, and then he has beautifully clicked the images, photographed them, and he has done a very extensive work. So what does our body contain? It is 70% water. So does that well now? You know, so we are liquid crystals, right? We are piezoelectric crystals. Okay, you put pressure on my muscles, I get energy. So if you see at older ages, body exercise goes down. These days, in the young age also, we don't exercise, right? So that starts at the younger age also. So body exercise, what is happening? The muscles are getting contracted and expanded, and then the electricity is generated. You know, that is our chi, you want to call it that way. Okay. So another important point about scalar field is that scalar field is the field which our cells use to communicate with each other. Okay. Now, if the cellular communication has gone down due to our health conditions, due to our emotions, whatever you want to call it, then we need to provide external scalar field, so that you just sit in the scalar field and our cells start communicating with each other very well. And in our life also, if miscommunication comes between me and my parents, chaos starts. So it's all about communication, my friends. If we are conversing well with each other, we are in resonance. So here we see so many people joined this webinar. I'm so grateful to you all. So this is a pure communication. A good communication, people are in harmony, cells are in harmony. Okay, that is what scalar field does to our body, right? It enhances the cellular communication. Lastly, mitochondria, which are the power stations of the cells, these are charged by scalar fields. So how cool is that? Scalar field charges the mitochondria. Okay. Lastly, scalar field, scalar energy is the energy which is stored around the nucleus and electrons of any molecule. So that empty space between the electrons and nucleus, that space has the scalar energy, right? So Spooky2 Scalar not only transmits energy, but it also takes energy from the ether. On YouTube, you will find many free energy devices, so-called free energy devices. Actually, all are using the energy from the universe and then converting it basically. Okay. So energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can only be transferred from one form to another, right? So what are the health benefits? We have already discussed few of them, but let me summarize now. Scalar field provides energy to the cells. It stimulates cellular growth in human immune system. It improves cell wall permeability. It supports communication between cells. Hence, it restores healthy state of the body. I think someone has asked a question that how does it charge mitochondria? I think I'm not a biology person. I can just say that scalar field cannot be stopped by anything. So what it means is it goes deeper through your body, it goes deeper, and then hence it enhances the cellular communication. Everything starts getting, what charged up from the beginning, right? So that is how it helps in charging the mitochondria also. It improves memory. It reduces the harmful effects of EMF from the cellular phones and so on. It improves sleep drastically and hence effective in depression, etc. Okay. In fact, this is the key point what 99% of the users start experiencing immediately as they start using scalar field, as they start sleeping overnight in scalar field, right? And it is also said that it does repair DNA and it enhances the plant health and growth. Of course, because if we love the scalar field, then plants love it more than us, for sure. And I have a few testimonials from my friends who have been using scalar field and they have plants at their house and the plants are growing wildly, So I have heard of these testimonials very well. So yeah, the key to healing is information, or we can say the scalar information. Okay, so scalar field enhances the cellular communication, and at the same time we can also add some XYZ materials to the scalar field and get the curative or therapeutic effects of that in our body that we learned today. So hold on. So scalar energy can make your body start healing on its own and offer it the much needed energy to open and remove the blockages from your body, right? Spooky2 Scalar is the first scalar energy device which provides us 3 modes of transmission, which provides 3 modes of scalar transmission. And as a popular traditional Chinese medicine saying goes, where there is free flow, there is no pain or dis-ease. So I also completely agree with that. Now, let us get into the technical details of the Spooky2 Scalar. One minute. Just give me a minute. I have to. So we get to the technical details of the Spooky2 scalar. How does the Spooky2 scalar work, or what all the hardware has to offer, and how do we start understanding how the scalar field is generated. Okay. So as I told you, when we purchase the Spooky2 scalar, we get two boxes with it. One is the transmitter, as I described in my starting slides. That transmitter generates a scalar, generates a sine signal and sends it to the receiver through one wire, right? So you see in the image here, the transmitter and receiver are placed like this. They need not be perfectly perpendicular. Okay, I didn't find any specific need of placing them perpendicular to each other, back to back. So transmitter sends a signal to the receiver, and receiver is placed like that. What receiver is doing is, it is inverting the signal and sending it back to the transmitter. Okay, and as we discussed earlier, the transmitter has the frequency generator in it. Now these two electromagnetic signals get cancelled. They cancel each other, and leaving behind the scalar field in the space between the transmitter and receiver here. Okay, this is the space where scalar field will be generated. So you can see here, transmitter sends a signal to the receiver. This is receiver and this is transmitter, and then receiver exactly sends the opposite signal such that the signal gets cancelled out, right? This is the perfect position, and when this situation, or when this condition has been achieved, this is called scalar field tuning. And the scalar field has been perfectly generated. Is that clear? We'll learn how to do that very shortly. Okay. So let me show you what I meant by cancelling the electromagnetic field just now in the previous slide. So I want to show you this short video, which is a very good visual presentation by a channel on YouTube called Smarter Every Day. So please watch this beautiful video. I have indeed edited it to make it short. So just see. So here you can call one as the transmitter and one as the receiver, and how the signal cancels out each other, resulting in this scalar field in all the directions. This is the way to understand beautifully what a scalar field is. And trust me, it was a very difficult experiment to be set up, thanks to the entire YouTube channel group. They have done a wonderful job in making this happen. And many of us get a feel of scalar field from their video, to be honest. Okay. Now, moving forward, what do we get in the hardware? So it's not very important to be discussed here. So I will just say that, just have a look at the second last point. See, this is the small current which constitutes the scalar flow. Such a small current, 30 milliamps, right? And then As I said, on the transmitter side, you have the frequency generator. So what is the frequency generator there? What is the specification? That is 1 megahertz to 8 megahertz. This is something you can note down somewhere. 1 megahertz to 8 megahertz. Okay. And the power adapter is 12 volt DC adapter and giving you a maximum of 2 amperes. So scalar as such takes approximately 24 watts maximum power. Okay. So this is, it's like, you know, CFL lamp energy it takes. So it's nothing very, it's quite pocket friendly, I can say. Just 1 minute. Yeah. So here you go. These are the things you get in your Spooky2 Scalar package. So one is the transmitter, another one is the receiver. They look identical. Okay. So when we get to the details, I'll tell you what is the difference between these two. And you get a power adapter, you get a link cable, you get a PNC cable, right? So getting to the 3 modes, this is just a short definition of the 3 modes, I must say. The first one is the pure scalar mode. It is the simplest of all. You would be happy to know even my parents set it up with ease. They are senior citizens. So it is that simple. I hardly took a few minutes to explain to them how to set up, and they are happy now. They sleep in the scalar field. Okay. So it is the easiest mode of applying scalar energy. Then you have the molecular scalar mode, which is meant to enhance the scalar signal. We learn what it does and how you can set it up very shortly now. Then you have the final mode, which is, what do you say? This is the unique feature what only Spooky2 Scalar offers you. There could be some other devices in the market, but Rife scalar mode is the strength of Spooky2 Scalar, wherein you have the modulation feature using which you can transfer any programs from the Spooky2 database to the scalar field and get the curative effects of that program in your body. Okay. It's a very powerful mode, very powerful mode. So what is pure scalar mode? It is as simple as tuning the Spooky2 scalar and sitting between the transmitter and receiver to receive the scalar energy. It is very simple. What is molecular scalar mode? Adding any molecule to the input or the receiver coil changes the scalar signal, and the person sitting between the lids, between the transmitter and receiver lids, gets the curative effect of this particular molecule. Okay. Scientific studies have proven that information alone can cause destruction to the pathogens. Now, how powerful is that statement? The information alone is enough to destroy pathogens, and scalar field brings information to the body. Rife scalar mode can apply the Rife frequencies using the healing scalar waves, making an advanced Rife machine. So this was all about the technical details. Let me go to the hardware operation. So before we get into the operation, it's very important to understand what does transmitter and receiver panel look like. Okay, what do they look like? So the transmitter panel, as I said, it has a frequency generator. Okay, So it has a frequency generator inbuilt to the transmitter box. So the panel will have an additional tuning knob. So you see here, mainly there is a frequency display. It's an LCD display which displays the frequency value to you. Okay. Then you have a link cable connector. So as we discussed in the earlier slides, you will have to connect the earthing cable, right? Earthing cable between the transmitter and the receiver. So this is the one we are talking about. So this is the cable you have to connect. This is the port where you have to connect the cable. It's that simple. Next, you have the power port, of course, because you have to connect your 12-volt adapter to this. So this is the power port. Then there is the option of going for the Rife scalar mode. So for that, the third mode needs the BNC connector here. So this is for the optional generator. When we do the Rife scalar mode, I'll tell you how to use this. Okay. Then you have turning on and off knob. This is the on off knob. It's of larger size compared to the tuning knob. So you have to just turn on the Spooky2 Scalar device with this knob, and then you have to start tuning with this tuning knob. Here you have the coil, which this is the transmitter coil. So this is set to be output coil. This is set to be the output coil, not the input coil. So at this point, I think I should draw the diagram and show you why it is called the output coil. This is little confusing for many people, so this is my duty to clarify that. So as I said, this is the transmitter and this is the receiver. So transmitter is sending the signal to the receiver, and receiver bounces back the same signal at the scalar tuning point, and there you have the scalar field. Okay. So this particular transmitter coil is set to be output coil. Okay, because the scalar signal is being inputted from receiver. Scalar field is being sent from the receiver actually. So receiver is set to be the input coil and transmitter is set to be the output coil. So why this is important, we'll discuss later. For now, we can be happy with this information. Okay. Now, next we go to, one thing left is, this is called the tuning light. This is a red color light whose intensity you have to monitor for tuning the scalar field. So this is the heart of the scalar tuning. You have to monitor the intensity of this LED, right? This is the most important part. Next, on the receiver panel, this is pretty clear. Receiver panel is very simple. There is no confusion, my friends. This is very simple. You have these wires and the adapter given here. This is the link cable and this is the power cable with adapter. Okay. Here you have the same coil as in the transmitter setup. And you see here, even on the transmitter coil, you have noticed there is a gray circle here. And it is off the center, right? So this is the place where anything has to be kept. By anything, I mean molecules or water, whatever. We'll discuss that later. So for now, please understand, you don't have to keep any material here. You have to make sure that whatever you keep, any bottle, any glass, it has to be intersecting this gray circle. Is that clear? So it should be off the center. Okay. Now this is called the input coil for the reason I've already told you. And this is called the link cable connector. Right. So the one which joins the transmitter and receiver. Now this is called the tuning light for the receiver panel. So if you press it, you will see it's a ring LED. So you will see a red light glowing in the translucent section of this button. So receiver is very simple, nothing to be confused about. Now let's get to the tuning of the pure scalar mode. Okay. So the pure scalar mode, as I said, it is the simplest of the all. Pure scalar mode is the simplest of the all. What you have to do is, you have to place the transmitter and receiver on either side of a chair or bed, right? We'll see the diagram, we'll see the video also. So just don't worry. I'm just explaining with respect to these steps, and then we will revise the steps with respect to the video and the theory. So it's all in one training, don't worry. Okay. So we have to place the transmitter and receiver in the fashion as seen here. And then we have to connect the power adapter and the link cable connecting the transmitter and the receiver. Once this is done, we have to tune the transmitter. So for tuning the transmitter, we have to go to the transmitter here. You see the tuning knob here. You have to start turning it anti-clockwise, right? So the moment you turn on the transmitter, that is the first step, of course, you have to turn this on. The moment you do this, the display will show you 8 megahertz. The reason for that is very simple. We'll learn that very shortly now. Okay. So you have to start turning the tuning knob anti-clockwise. So what I mean by that, from 8 megahertz, you have to go down to 0, right? That is the direction. But the moment you start turning anti-clockwise from 8 megahertz, the first maximum brightness point, where is the brightness here? In this tuning light here. This is a red color LED. So whenever this is maximum, the first maximum brightness, that is your scalar tuning point. Okay. Let me also add here, the scalar tuning point changes between 5 to 7 megahertz. You should ask why. I will say, wait for some time. I'll answer your question. Okay. It's there in the question answer section. So as I said in the previous slide, the moment you turn on the transmitter power, you see the frequency display showing you 8 megahertz. So this is a graph to make you understand. This is 8 megahertz, right? So I start turning the knob anti-clockwise, and the first brightest point is the scalar tuning point. You should stay there and be happy it is done. To confirm this point, mark my words, to confirm this point, go to the receiver panel and press the LED there, the ring LED I talked about. When you press it, you will see that the LED is glowing. The red color light is quite bright. So that means your scalar field has been set up. And you can turn off that LED. It's very important to turn off the receiver LED, which is meant only to confirm that scalar field has been formed, right? So you tuned the scalar point from the transmitter, but you confirmed it from the receiver LED. Is that clear? Again, coming back to the transmitter panel, if you go to the second, if you by mistake overshoot the range of say 5 to 7 megahertz, if you go below 5 megahertz, you might find that the LED again becomes very bright. And let me tell you, that is not the scalar tuning point. This is the electromagnetic field tuning point, EMF point. This is not what you need. So please make sure, if there is any such confusion, you can turn off the transmitter, and then again you can turn it on and start your tuning again from 8 megahertz. Okay. So the first bright point is the one you are targeting. That is very important. Okay. Now this slide is very important because some people get doubt. What should be the distance between me and the leads? What should be the distance between both the transmitter and receiver? So this is the slide. You all can maybe take the screenshot, or maybe you can see from the video when it will be published on YouTube. Okay. So you see here, the first thing is most important. Link cable should not be coiled. Keep link cable as straight as possible. Leave link cable as straight as possible and avoid metals close to link cable. Avoid metals, I said. Okay. It's not necessary. In small houses like mine, it is very difficult to keep it away from metals, right? So metal can shift the scalar tuning point little bit. Nothing much is going to happen. So be rest assured, you will still get the scalar tuning point, but the scalar tuning point can shift little bit because metal has absorbed some electromagnetic energy, not the scalar energy, the electromagnetic energy, which is getting used to generate the scalar energy. So there is a difference here. Okay. So try to keep it as straight as possible. And the least distance between the transmitter and the receiver leads should be 6 feet. Why 6 feet? This is a beautiful lady from the Spooky2 team. Imagine her width is approximately 2 feet. So the distance between, the least distance between the body and the lid should be approximately 1.5 to 2 feet. Okay, 1.5 to 2 feet from both the sides. So that makes it 4 plus 2 feet, that is the body width approximately, which makes it nearly 6 feet. Okay. So try to maintain this distance. You may ask, Dr. Chopra, why? The reason is, let me show you here. In this range, you have electromagnetic field on both the sides. EMF is high, right? So if you go away from the transmitter and receiver leads at least 2 feet, you are rest assured that the EMF is not troubling you at all. Why EMF is for 2 feet? As I told earlier, electromagnetic field decays with square of the distance. So this is the distance R we are talking about. So as per the voltage power considerations of this particular device, the EMF field decays to almost zero where the person is sitting. Is that clear? Okay. So this is a very important slide, and the previous one, please note them down. Now, as the person is sitting between the field, the scalar field, as I mentioned in my earlier slides, the scalar field is in elliptical fashion like this. Okay, it's in 3D, like, okay. So here in the center, the scalar field is the maximum. So this is very important. Okay. Now, as I promised, I will show you how to set up the different modes. So you can see the video here. This is a very short video. So please pay attention here. How to set up the pure scalar field. I hope it's audible for you all. If someone can write yes in the chat box, just one person. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you.
How to set up and tune Spooky2 Scalar. Hello everyone, in this video we will show you how to set up and tune Spooky2 Scalar. First of all, place the transmitter and receiver either side of a chair or bed. Secondly, you need to connect the 12-volt power adapter to the transmitter power port. Third, plug the link cable into the transmitter and receiver link connectors. And then you can turn on and tune the transmitter. Just like a radio, Spooky2 Scalar requires tuning. It is very simple to do. Turn the tuning adjustment knob anti-clockwise until the tuning light beside the transmitter coil is at its first maximum brightness. There are two peaks during tuning. The first peak in the indication light indicates that the ideal scalar frequency has been found. The frequency range when the light illuminates is quite broad. If you continue to turn the tuning knob anti-clockwise, the indication light will extinguish and then will come back on. This second, lower frequency is the EMF operating frequency. It is the confirmation that the scalar frequency was found in the previous step. Thanks for watching this video.
So I hope it was clear how to set up the pure scalar field. So let me go to the next one. If you understand how to set up the pure scalar mode, then it is very simple to understand how to set up the molecular scalar mode. What you have to do is you have to exactly follow all the previous steps. We will see the video again for molecular scalar mode in case you have any doubt. Okay. So now what you have to do is you have to place any substance, any molecule on the small gray circle of the receiver coil or the input coil. Here you see in the diagram. So here you have to place the substance on the receiver coil and sit exactly in between the transmitter and the receiver leads, maintaining the previous distance of 1.5 feet at least from both the receiver and transmitter. Okay. Now, once you place the substance, Then you have to turn on and tune the transmitter. And that's all you need to do. You will get the curative effect of the substance in your body. So let us again see the video to do that, so that it becomes clear for you.
We will show you how to apply molecular scalar using essential oil. Firstly, we need to set up Spooky2 Scalar devices. Connect the 12-volt power adapter to the transmitter power port. Then plug the link cable into the transmitter and receiver link connectors. Secondly, we need to place the essential oil on receiver plate. Open the essential oil bottle. Glass container is recommended for the substances. The small gray circle on the coil is the best place for the substances, so we put essential oil on the small gray circle. We recommend putting the drops you desire in a topless vial or vial with glass lid or paper lid, but do not waste your expensive bottle of essential oil by leaving the lid off. If you want to send the effects of essential oil, supplement, or drugs, etc., in your body or into something else, place the substance on the receiver coil. We can turn on Spooky2 Scalar now. Turn the tuning adjustment knob anti-clockwise until the tuning light beside the output coil is at maximum brightness. OK, we can see between the transmitter and the receiver now.
Okay, so see, this is not mandatory to keep the vial open. Okay, you can close it also. So people have reported equally good results, because I don't want my costly essential oils to be evaporated, right? So you can close it, it will still work. Now the third and most important mode is the Rife scalar mode. So as I said, you can use the Rife scalar mode to transmit any programs, any specific frequencies, or any frequencies you want to transmit to your body. You can use generator X to do that job along with the scalar. Okay, so when you purchase Spooky2 Scalar kit, you already get generator X with that. So what you have to do in the Rife scalar mode is, once Spooky2 Scalar is tuned, you have to connect the Spooky2 generator to the generator port on the transmitter box. So as I said in my earlier slide, you have a BNC cable port on the transmitter panel, right? So that BNC cable goes to, I prefer to connect G1 of generator X. Straight away, you connect the generator X to the BNC port on the transmitter box. That's all you need to do. Of course, you have to copy the custom program in the generator X memory, and you can run generator X in standalone mode, and it will transmit the frequency to your body through the scalar field. Okay, so we'll see how you can do that. So in the next video, I'll be showing you. There I've taken the example of, all these videos are from Spooky2 group. So these are properly legitimate videos. So you all can learn easily from these videos. Okay. So we have, for an example, we have transferred 528 hertz. It's popularly known as the DNA repair frequency. That frequency has been transferred to the scalar field using generator X. So that is what is this video all about. So enjoy this video.
Firstly, we need to load the program DNA integrity stimulate into generator X. Plug the power adapter into generator X, and the other end goes into the power source. Then, connect USB cable to GX and the computer. Insert the square end into the side of generator X and the USB end into the computer. Turn on the generator X. Okay, now you can open the Spooky2 software. Go to Presets tab, choose Shell Presets, Scalar, Spooky2 Scalar General JW. Next, go to Programs tab, search DNA Integrity Stimulate program and double-click to choose it. Then, go to the Control tab, tick Override Generator and open a generator. Click the Load button. Double-click to select a memory location to save the preset, and click Save. Secondly, we need to set up Spooky2 Scalar devices. Connect the 12-volt power adapter to the transmitter power port. Then plug the link cable into the transmitter and receiver link connectors. Thirdly, we need to connect generator X to Spooky2 Scalar and tune Spooky2 Scalar. We need to ensure that generator X stays away from scalar field and 1 meter away from Spooky2 transmitter and link cable. Connect G1 out 1 or G2 out 1 to the BNC port of the Spooky2 Scalar transmitter. Here we connect G1 out 1 to this port using a BNC cable. Okay, we can turn on Spooky2 Scalar now. Then, turn the tuning adjustment knob anti-clockwise until the tuning light beside the output coil is at maximum brightness. Fourthly, we need to start DNA integrity stimulate program in generator X. We connect G1 out 1 to the Spooky2 Scalar transmitter, so we press G1 here. You can see all your loaded presets in GX. Select DNA integrity stimulate. Press the Start button. One cycle of the program is 3 minutes. Press the Loop button to loop the program if you need more treatment time. Okay, we can sit between the transmitter and receiver while the programs are running.
Okay, so this was about the Rife scalar mode. Let me add here that Rife scalar mode also has the biofeedback scanning. Okay, but that is an advanced topic which I don't handle in the beginner webinars. So for that, we can have another webinar for advanced users. So for now, it is very easy for you all to be able to transmit any custom programs to your body through the scalar field. That is what is a simpler Rife scalar mode for you. Okay. Again, we talked about the frequency imprinting in the beginning. So what is frequency imprinting? I can imprint any water, any material, people also put quartz crystals, healers, they use their crystals and you can keep your crystal on the output coil, crystal or water. Okay, do not put anything which contains lead, right? So have the glassware which is lead free. It is always good to do that. You can put a glass of water over the output coil, and then you can transmit any frequencies through the Spooky2 scalar and drink that water after the session. So it's very fast and very powerful frequency imprinting you are doing there. Okay, imagine if you are sitting between the scalar field and you have molecule placed on the receiver coil, and then you have water placed on the transmitter coil. So the entire frequency imprinting will be customized for your body, right? So that's quite powerful scalar session, healing session. Now, few key points you have to understand are: tune before each session. Always tune before each session, because the tuning point can shift due to temperature or humidity, as well as the layout of the machine. What do I mean by layout? If you start increasing the distance between the transmitter and receiver coil, the frequency starts going down and down. Maybe 6 megahertz will become 5 megahertz now. It can go a little lower also if the distance between the lids is too large. And every time you have to turn off the receiver tuning light during scalar session. As I said earlier, the LED light is just for your confirmation on the scalar, on the receiver panel. So it is going to consume some scalar field. Okay, so don't do that. Turn it off every time. The transmitter and receiver should have their lids facing each other. That's fine. And try to keep the link cable away from the metal. Okay. Spooky2 scalar should not be used during pregnancy or with pacemaker. Overnight treatments are perfectly safe. And why I love Spooky2 scalar is because there is nothing like frequency fatigue from overexposure. Body takes whatever it needs and leaves out the rest. It is best not to share scalar field with someone who has serious illness. Of course, you can share the field with your spouse because your energies are already entangled with each other, right? So that's fine, but try to avoid serious illnesses. This is just a word of precaution. BNC cable is very clear. Okay. Now we quickly go to the new accessory what Spooky2 has launched. It's my duty to explain what this accessory does. And the name is very apt for the purpose. It is called Spooky2 Scalar Harmony. Okay. Why this accessory has been designed? First of all, as I gather, I understand out of it, we all are tuned to the sound waves around us. We resonate very well with the sound waves, right? Transferring frequency using the Rife scalar mode, say transferring 528 hertz frequency directly to your body is fine. It makes me happy. But what does make me more happier is listening to a music which is 528 hertz tuned. Okay, so the music resonates with me more. So aptly designed, Spooky2 Scalar Harmony is a brand new accessory which can transmit soothing musical tones or the frequencies and meditative beats via Spooky2 Scalar for a more refreshing experience. So the accessory itself has a speaker. We'll see in the image. It has a small speaker, tiny speaker. It does not need any power connection. It just needs proper setting up on the receiver panel on the receiver coil, and then you have to connect the 3.5 mm jack connection from your mobile phone or from any device which can produce audio frequencies. Okay. So Spooky2 Scalar Harmony is an accessory designed for Spooky2 scalar units. It does not deliver any scalar energy on its own. Please place scalar harmony on the receiver plate of Spooky2 Scalar. So we'll see what does it look like. The contents of the Spooky2 Scalar Harmony are this. This is the device. This is a very lightweight coil. And you see there is a hole here. This is a hollow area where you can put your molecules, right? Remember I said on the receiver you can put any molecules. So if you put this coil exactly of the same size on the receiver coil, so this is the area which will be overlapping the gray circle. Okay, so you can put any molecules here, and there is a tiny speaker here on the side of which there is a audio plug, 3.5 mm jack, and you also get multi-input audio cable, so wherein you can connect any devices, your Apple device, Android device, any audio player. You can start giving frequencies, audio frequencies to the harmony. Of course, scalar has to be tuned, so that we'll learn very shortly. So this is how the scalar harmony will be placed on the receiver coil. It is very simple to use. And this one is the essential oil here. Okay. So I will just show you the video so that it becomes clear to you. So just have a look at this video, how to set it up.
Connecting, and more. Hi! In this video, we will demonstrate a step-by-step procedure of how to turn on your Spooky2 Scalar Harmony and start your first relaxing session. Inside your Scalar Harmony pack, you will receive a Spooky2 Scalar Harmony, a user manual, a locating button with sticker on one side, a button template for assisting a precise placement of the locating button, and a multiple input audio cable. You can play instrumental music, solfeggio frequencies, and Rife healing programs via Scalar Harmony. Also, if you are an advanced scalar user, you can combine molecular scalar energy with Scalar Harmony. Scalar Harmony has the molecular modulation perfectly built in on its handle. You can place a glass containing a few drops of essential oil on the place shown below. Before you connect your Scalar Harmony to an audio source, please set up your scalar unit first. Place the transmitter and receiver on either side of a chair or bed. Try to keep them as far apart as possible. Connect the 12V power adapter to the transmitter power port. Plug the link cable into the transmitter and receiver link connectors. Try to keep the link cable away from metallic objects. Turn on and tune the transmitter. New versions of Spooky2 Scalar are already prepared for Scalar Harmony. If you purchase Spooky2 Scalar after February 23, 2022, you can jump straight to 3 minutes, 38 seconds. If you purchase Spooky2 Scalar before this date, you can perform the next simple steps to upgrade Spooky2 Scalar yourself. Then, place your Scalar Harmony at the correct location shown on the receiver plate. Please use the locating button and the button template provided to assist you. Place the button template on the receiver plate, so the switch button fits neatly inside the hole of the template. And make sure the other hole is right on top of the small, white circle on the receiver plate. On every locating button, there is a double-sided sticker. Peel off the white coat of the sticker. Carefully place and stick the locating button inside the other hole of the button template. The sticker is quite hard to remove once it sticks to the receiver plate, so be sure to fasten it in the correct position. When the locating button is firmly stuck to the receiver plate, remove the button template and place Spooky2 Scalar Harmony on the receiver coil. The locating button should fit snugly into the small hole under the handle. Plug the audio input into the audio input port. Plug the other end of the cable into the headphone output of your audio device. In this video, I will use an iPhone as an example. Plug the lightning cable into the lightning USB port on the iPhone. Open a music player app on the iPhone. Choose a music or song to play. Here, I will select an instrumental music. Make sure the sound of the iPhone is not on mute. It is best to keep the audio player and cables away from the Spooky2 scalar unit during use. Now, you may relax and enjoy the magic of scalar harmony.
Okay, so it's very simple to use the Spooky2 Scalar Harmony device. It's very simple because it allows you to be connected with your mobile phone. It's very simple. Okay, but let me tell you the on off switch here, this is very important. Some people do not notice it. You have to turn it on and off every time. Okay, and then the speaker is not very loud, so don't be mistaken that it will be very loud. It's not some 20-30 watt speaker. It's just scalarizing the audio frequencies, that's all. Okay, so let us go to the Q&A section. I will not discuss all of these because many of these I have already discussed in my PPT. So the first question is actually about why transmitter coil is called the output coil and receiver coil is called the input coil. So I will not get into that. This we have already discussed. How long does it take to imprint water? Using scalar field, it takes few minutes, 3 or more minutes. That's all. Can I be in the scalar field while imprinting frequencies into water? Yes. So as I discussed earlier, if you sit in the scalar field and at the same time you are imprinting the frequencies into water, then the treatment is customized for your body. Actually, it is more powerful. Okay, so you can do that. How long will the imprint last? In general, this question is that. So usually it lasts till 2 to 3 months at max, but 2 to 3 months is quite a long time for an imprinting which hardly takes few minutes. So I would not bother much about it. I keep imprinting every few days. I never find any problem with that. Okay, but yes, if in case you want to store it longer, it does store for 2 to 3 months. Is there any overdose? No, there won't be any overdose of imprinting at all. Any adverse effects of scalar on metal implants? No, it will not interfere with any metal implants because metals, the scalar passes through metals as we discussed. Can you be using Any other modes while using scalar? Of course, yes. It will be actually more beneficial. I know Spooky2 remote is also scalar field. Okay. What is the difference between Spooky2 remote and Spooky2 scalar? Very good question. Spooky2 remote is a low power scalar device. It's also a scalar device, and you all must be knowing who all have XM generator or generator X. Remote treatment is a very powerful treatment for all of us. Just imagine you have enhanced the power of that remote mode and made a new device now. It's very powerful. Okay. Where do we become dependent on scalar? If we go out of scalar, would you get fatigued? Absolutely no. Okay, function of push button on the receiver, I already discussed this. Spooky2 Scalar makes me sleepy for hours after I leave the field. I sometimes sweat a lot, get a sore throat and breathing heavily. Is it normal? Of course it is normal. Okay, it is the response of our parasympathetic nervous system which becomes dominant now after sleeping in scalar field, and when we are awake the sympathetic nervous system dominates. Okay, so it is an indication of detox and healing. So please bear with that little discomfort because it is going to bring you comfort in future for sure. Can scalar machine be used remotely? This is a question I have come across many times. People who are healers who want to incorporate scalar into their healing modality. Yes, people do put their DNA sample and Polaroid photos, okay, in the middle of the scalar field and then put any essential oil on the receiver. Or you can also keep the DNA or Polaroid photo on the transmitter coil because it is the output coil where you want the imprinting, the intention to be transferred from receiver to the transmitter. So you can place the samples there also. Okay. Can children use Spooky2 Scalar? Yes. Of course, we recommend over 7 years of age. Spooky2 Scalar can be used to run for 24/7 several weeks. Of course, yes, you can. Is it normal to have our pets in the scalar field with us? Absolutely fine, because your pets are already entangled with your energy. So I find there is no problem. Can we use mobile phones? Of course, you can use mobile phones, but scalar field can shift little bit. You might need new tuning of the scalar field. Okay. Is it normal that receiver light not be dim when I put my hand in front of the lid, not touching the lid? Yes, it is absolutely normal because the capacitance of the hand comes into picture now. So absolutely normal. It's a good question now. If a bacteria or virus is inside the scalar field, does it absorb scalar field and get stronger? Answer is no. Simple answer is no. Because the scalar field itself by nature is detrimental to the pathogens. Okay. So pathogens definitely don't like the harmony. If they liked harmony, we would be actually stronger in presence of pathogens. Scalar field can help you with 5G, can help with the cellular damage. Of course, yes. These are some of the promising programs. I will not read them out. You can take a screenshot. So you can transmit these programs, these frequencies to the scalar field using the Rife scalar mode steps. Okay. Do we need to change settings for different diseases? No, absolutely no. Of course, if you are using different molecules or chemicals to treat the issues, you will need different chemicals to be placed on the receiver coil. But tuning wise, you need tuning to be done every time when you add a different chemical. Okay. So like frankincense oil, is said to be a general purpose healing compound. So it's also beneficial in cancerous cases. Yeah, if another question is, can I place urine sample on the receiver coil with the essential oil? Of course you can. Of course you can. Try to avoid using glass containing lead. So this was all about the Scalar seminar, and I hope you all learned something good. You all can reach me here. I'm available on Facebook. I do have my YouTube channel. You have my LinkedIn ID. You have my Instagram ID. Please stay connected. It would be great to communicate with each other and learn from each other. Okay. You have my email ID. If any one of you needs one-on-one training, you can approach me and we can go ahead. If you want to make a proper choice of the devices, you can contact me too. Okay. And let me continue with the, okay, when there is, Bram has asked about the cancellation of the wave. Bram, the entire concept what we have discussed have been experimentally verified several times by these research groups. So I do not right now have the experimental data, how much power does the receiver reflects back. But let me tell you, it's good enough for cancelling completely. Okay. So the cancelling does occur because ultimately, if you see the transmitter and receiver, these are acting as basically this is a capacitor setup. Okay. So the other one gets induced, the charge gets induced here because you have the link cable connected. So the entire signal gets transferred there. So there is no problem with the concept. It does work, and we have that is clearly visible if you press the receiver LED, Bram. Okay. I hope that answers a little bit. Emily has asked glass of water to be put on the transmitter output coil. Yeah, Emily, that is what we have discussed. It is to be kept on the output coil. Absolutely, yes, transmitter. Roy has asked, can I place transmitter and receiver across several rooms? Yes, why not, Roy? Absolutely, you can do that. Pam has asked, what happens if you turn the tuning knob clockwise? Nothing happens, Pam. There is no problem if you turn it clockwise. Just understand the concept. The first maximum brightness close to 8 megahertz side is the scalar tuning point. Pam, does that answer your question? Okay, anti-clockwise method has been told to make it simpler. That's all. Okay. If using essential oil, can you place only a few drops in a glass bowl on the receiver instead of the entire bottle? Why not, SS? Yes, why not? Use as little as possible. Absolutely no problem. What is the minimum time? Trudy has asked, what is the minimum time to sit in the simple scalar to get the benefit, even not specifically treating anything? Maybe half an hour. Trudy, it's a difficult question to answer actually. It depends person to person. Okay. Some people get effect within few minutes maybe. So it's difficult. What I do is I sleep overnight. So scalar field is a field, I don't want to count time. It's a healing field, right? And there is no overdose. So why to count it? So try to, okay, as a practice, in your practice, if you are working, I would suggest half an hour is fine. Half an hour to 1 hour is good enough. I think someone has asked about XM generator with scalar. I think generator X is the choice for scalar because modulation capability is available in generator X. Okay. Roy has asked about the discount. Roy, I have already shared the code with you, my friend. Please buy using that code. You will get 5% discount. Okay. This is only for Spooky2 Scalar. Jessica has asked, can you explain why you can't use scalar using during pregnancy? Of course, because of the issue with the electromagnetic field, by mistake, if you sleep in the EMF field, you won't like your child to be affected by the EMF field. So I won't like that either. So by mistake also, we don't want to take any chances, right? So once the child is born, after some time you can start working, but after the delivery, the pregnant lady can start sleeping in the scalar field. And because the DNA is entangled with the child, Jessica, this is for you. Because the DNA of the child is entangled with mothers, so if you sleep in the scalar field, indirectly your newborn is going to get the scalar effect. Okay, so that way you can handle this situation, not during pregnancy. Christine has asked, will it hurt the pets? No, no way, no way. Can you use the 2-channel signal generator? Pam has asked about 2-channel signal generator. I don't know what you exactly mean. I would prefer only generator X with this because of the software recognizing the Spooky2 scalar and the generator X. Okay, so it is the software compatibility which is very important, and software is very crucial for the Spooky2 work. EMF is the electromagnetic field which is not good for our body, Nell. Okay. Gina has asked about how many times can I repeatedly use the molecular substance on scalar. See, that I have not experimented with how many times. Technically speaking, there should be no problem with the molecular substance. It should still work. It should still work. Okay. Sandra, you don't need computer to use it when you want to use it in pure and molecular scalar mode. Plus, if you don't want to buy generator X, I would recommend you go for the Spooky2 Scalar Harmony, because at least you will be able to do the Rife scalar mode in some way. Okay, you will be able to do it. So go ahead with Spooky2 Scalar Harmony. Try to keep the transmitter and receiver at the same height, but usually that should not be the constraint. Little bit height difference does work. There is no problem. There is no problem, Jenny. There is no problem if the distance is not similar in both the ways, receiver and transmitter. That's okay. Just maintain at least 1.5 feet away from the lids. Spooky2 Scalar Harmony, it does not sit there permanently. You can remove it. The button which we showed in the video is just to make sure that harmony does not keep rotating. You can still remove the harmony. Button will be stuck there forever. Kina, I hope does that answer your question. Thank you, and thank you. Like the presentation. Heidi has asked, little bit confused about the difference of putting a substance on the circle area of the transmitter. Okay. See, any substance you want to be transmitted to the body will be placed on receiver. Okay. Just watch the video in future and use the same. when you don't need to analyze, just start using the procedure as it is. So whatever you want to be transferred to your body will be placed on receiver, and whatever needs the imprinting will be placed on the transmitter. Okay. Bruce, thanks for joining, my friend. You are always there. I hope you are learning something good every time. So you use a 10-meter cable. Does the chair have to be positioned in the middle? 4.15, and the transmitter light is not the brightest to get the maximum power. See, always I would go for the receiver LED then. Okay, if that is the case, fine. So the idea is transmitter light, transmitter tuning light is the first checkpoint for you all. You have to make sure that it is the brightest. Okay, so if it is the brightest, then next go for the scalar tuning light. Does not matter how much ever is the intensity, that's okay. Once you follow the protocol procedure properly, there is no wrongdoing in scalar. That is the beauty of Spooky2 Scalar. Least fuss and you get the most benefits. Yeah, Jessica, I already answered your question. You can sit in the scalar field and your child can get the benefit. Okay. Absolutely. Daniel has asked a very good question. Yes, full moon or full moon can change or enhance spooky effect. Absolutely, yes. On the full moon, pathogens are quite aggressive in your body. Okay, so if you want to hit them, you can hit them on full moon. That's a good question. Thanks, Daniel, for asking that. Sandra, no, you cannot use Mac laptop. Sorry. Okay, that's a very good question someone has asked. Side effects get transferred in scalar or not in molecular mode? That's a very good question. Absolutely no. That is the beauty of frequency treatment. Only the beneficial effect of the material or the molecule gets transmitted to the body, not the negative side effect. That is the beauty of frequency treatment, my friend. All of you must notice this. That is the beauty of scalar field. That is the beauty of any frequency based treatment. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you again. Thank you, Gina, for liking the presentation. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Jessica, my email ID is written in the chat box. In case you missed it, just 1 minute. Okay. I'll write in the chat box for all of you. I'm writing my email ID in case you want to go for any one-on-one training or you want to purchase anything. So let me just quickly have a look at the chat box. Okay, if anything I missed. Okay, thank you. Hello to everyone. Love you all. So simply explained. Thank you, Anu. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. How does scalar charge the mitochondria? Okay, we have answered that. Okay. Sometimes it takes time for our body, for the mitochondria to get charged. In that small duration, maybe sometimes you can get insomnia, but usually this doesn't happen. This is usually that thing is over. That you overcome that issue very soon. Nitin has asked, can't we automate the tuning? We can always do all those things, but a manual tuning is also very easy. There is no problem in tuning here. We can definitely recommend this idea to the Spooky2 team. Thank you, Anu Nagpal. You have shared your wonderful experience. Yeah, that's what I said. in initial sessions you can have some headaches. Yes. Helen, you have to turn off the LED. I don't remember what is written in the manual, but definitely you have to turn off the LED. Thank you. If I am sleeping in the scalar field, I would like the maximum scalar field to be covering my body, you know. So I would love to have my head facing the transmitter and my feet facing the receiver, or vice versa. Okay, that would be my position of sleeping in the scalar field. There is no upper duration to the scalar session. You can have as much as you want. Someone has asked why scalar is not good for patient with serious illness. Absolutely wrong information you have understood. This is not that. I meant you should not share with any person with serious illness. Okay, don't avoid sharing the scalar field with person with serious illness. That's all. Scalar works for any distance. So if used properly, it is always beneficial. Yeah, not exactly. It's good for them, but not good for you. Just try to avoid sharing field with such people. That's all. Thanks, Sandra, for entering details. Martin, you can email me, Martin Van Beek. You can email me your questions or anything you want, any help, I can guide you. 2 more minutes, I think I will close the session. See, Faraday's cage is a way to check uh, the scalar field production. Actually, it's not available. It need not be available in the Spooky2 Scalar. Okay, I'm not aware of that exactly, but Faraday's cage is not the necessity for scalar field. No, not at all. Can device increase intensity of scalar energy? How do you do that? You can add multiple scalar units to do that. There is no problem. If you read Professor Mail's work, Steve, you will see how to increase the intensity of scalar energy. Okay, but Spooky2 Scalar, we are not working in that regime right now. We can do that. Do EMF protectors such as shungite stones interfere with scalar waves? Not at all, Alessandro. No, no way. Eric has asked, what other programs do you recommend? Eric, I would always suggest go for any chakra healing, grounding programs, anything you can get hold of. There is a very good program, Erase Negative Thoughts. Those programs you can run on Spooky2 Scalar. It's a very good idea. Okay. Dennis, do you know about plasma? You have asked. Yes, I do offer one-on-one training on plasma. Okay, I am working with a lady who has cancer also, so I do that. How do you apply Rodin coil? Wow, that's my favorite topic too. I haven't experimented with that. That's a good idea. We can talk over email maybe if we can learn more about that. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. You liked my presentation. Thank you, Anu.